Good morning, my fellow patriots. Have you seen what's happening in Europe right now? It is pretty wild. Now that was a little taste of what the United States would have looked like if Kamala Harris was to win, right? And before we get started, if you could please like, comment, and subscribe. If you don't know what to comment, just leave an emoji down below for engagement. It helps fight against the evil liberal downvote, because as soon as they find that this is a Republican page, if you could please do that, I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, so Europe is a mess right now due to the invasion of immigrants, right? Illegal immigrants in a lot of the cases. Places like France, Germany, and Sweden are being invaded by Muslims, Africans, people from the Middle East. It's pretty wild over there, right? And Sky News out of Australia did a story on this, so let's hop on over and see what they had to say.
It is anarchy in parts of Spain, France, and the UK right now, as migrant gangs from Northern Africa and the Middle East violently try to take over and intimidate innocent people. Spain is currently in crisis, with ongoing clashes between migrant gangs and Spaniards following the violent bashing of an elderly man in Torre Pacheco. And again in Spain, a man with a baby was callously threatened by a knife-wielding gang for simply walking down the street. And in the tourist mecca of Barcelona, the cobblestone laneways are no longer filled with people enjoying their vacations, but with hundreds of Muslim men chanting.
Now, while that is happening in Barcelona, this is currently happening in New York City.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
And since 2021 in the United States, approximately 7 to 8 million illegal immigrants are still in this country, with 1.2 million known gotaways. With the continuation of the Biden administration, let's be honest, it wasn't even his administration or Harris's administration. As we know, Harris was the border czar, right? Did she visit the border one time? Did she even say that there was a border crisis? No, but it was the worst border crisis in U.S. history. That's why I'm saying the United States would look a lot like Europe right now if Harris would have been president.
France is also in a migration mess, with violence running rampant in the streets, like at the Fête de la Musique last month, where hundreds of young people were stabbed with syringes and property set alight. Online commentators were in shock with the footage, with this person saying, "This is France? This looks like Ghana, not France." And 2 women were left injured and terrified after their car was surrounded and destroyed by rioters following the PSG Champions League victory.
Now that had to have been absolutely terrifying for those young women. I couldn't imagine having to see that, live that life every single day, knowing that women are the ones that are really under attack by these migrants, by these illegal migrants from Middle Eastern countries, right? Now, Key West recently had a vote on allowing federal agents and ICE into their communities to deport illegal criminals. Let's see what their community had to say.
Back to the Mexican border to pay all their money to wait back again.
Let's see what kind of arguments they presented.
I'm also gay, I'm also queer, I'm also non-binary, and I'm also a Gemini. The only emergency that I'm aware of is the paranoid delusion of our president, who thinks that there's something happening in this country. I urge you to deliver us from evil.
Racial profiling is illegal and unethical. When they're writing the history books, I ask, how do you want to be remembered? As a culture, ICE doesn't belong in our streets. It belongs in our cocktails.
This reminds me of 1930s, and I'm not exaggerating. We have to actually, I think, put a barrier around the immigrants and protect them.
We cannot let them be used as a weapon of an authoritarian regime hell-bent on imposing their twisted vision of a whitewashed America.
I believe your stance against this evil spreading across our nation is exactly what you were called to do.
Our resistance against falling in line with fascism and xenophobia will only grow more and more crucial.
Begging you not to go full Nazi is a little bit cringe. I hope everyone knows what that word means. It means reprehensible. I do not want to be ashamed to be from Florida. I don't even tell people when I go to New York and LA that I live in Florida on the dating apps. They keep that off the dating apps.
The President of the United States has made his racism and hatred against Haitian people abundantly clear.
My parents were active in the civil rights movement in the 1960s, and the KKK burned a cross in their yard to scare them. That was extremely scary for them, but it didn't stop them from standing up for equal rights. Don't let fear stop you from doing what's right.
There is a minority group here in Key West that is possibly making the island a little bit worse for wear because none of us can afford to live here, but those are an entirely different discussion. I know that it's scary to stand up to this increasingly fascist administration, but we all know that they are on the wrong side of history already.
People, human people, are being racially profiled and kidnapped, then being unlawfully and inhumanely detained in concentration camps. A lot of trigger words in there. You must be able to see the writing on the wall. If we let them get away with this now, we're next. Any one of us can and will be a target, and don't you hope someone will stand up for you when your rights are being violated.
With the endless amount of speakers at this meeting, exactly one person went against the crowd and spoke in favor of ICE.
I came from Cuba in 1967 as a Cuban refugee. I really strongly feel that this whole issue here today, besides immigration, is political. It's obvious by everybody speaking that they hate President Trump and that they hate Ron DeSantis. That is the issue. Bill Clinton deported people. George Bush deported people. Barack Obama was called the deporter-in-chief. And I never, ever heard of such gatherings against it. These are really good people with really good intentions, but I don't think any of them have lived the immigrant and the immigration issue. As an American, I'm here to protect my children and my grandchildren. And unfortunately, for the past 4 years, there's been a lot of people coming through America that we didn't know who they were. And today, yes, there's a lot of good people paying the consequences. But they made that decision in their home country when they decided to come here illegally. And President Trump ran on that issue, and he won on that issue. And you can't evade that. I am here to stand with the police and with ICE. And I hope you vote the right way. Thank you.
The crowd was not pleased with the decision.
To boos and frustration, Key West commissioners voting 4-2 to enter into a 287G.
You know what? Good on Key West. Outstanding for that city council to vote to protect American citizens rather than illegal criminal aliens. And yes, every single migrant that crossed our border illegally is a criminal. You wouldn't allow just anybody off the street to enter your house, would you?
Women's advocacy group Women's Safety Initiative is speaking up about the issue to raise awareness about the dire state of play in the UK at the moment.
The silent impact of mass migration on women's daily lives in the UK is a stark reminder of the point that we have got to in this country. A country that has chosen multiculturalism over assimilation, ultimately leading to what we have now. parallel communities with limited cross-cultural understanding. Let's take a look at Bordesley Green, one of the most dangerous areas you could possibly live in Birmingham, with 181 crimes per 1,000 residents, and a large portion of these crimes being of sexual and violent offences. Now let me make it clear, the demographic of this ward is significant. Less than 10% of this ward account for white British people. Violence and sexual offences constitute the largest crime category in Bordesley Green, making up 50.3% of all crimes reported. They are averaging at about 150 to 160 violent sexual offences committed every month.
Yes, and the illegal immigrants are the hardest working people in Europe and the United States. That's what they want you to believe. That's exactly how they want you to feel. And that's how they've brainwashed a lot of American leftists into thinking. But what you and I will never forget are 3 names, along with countless others who were savagely taken off of this planet by an illegal immigrant. Ashlyn Nguri, Laken Riley, and Rachel Morin. Now back to Sky News.
So a 24-year-old man has been brutally murdered on the streets of London, outside a luxury hotel, by another man who was allegedly trying to steal his watch. This is merely the latest horrific symbol of how out of control and horrific London has become. Just look at the stats. Shoplifting is up 54%, theft from the person is up 41%, 70,000 phones were stolen from people in this city last year alone. There's a rape every hour, sexual offences are through the roof, and it's not just the crime that bothers me. London has also become a symbol for liberal progressives of how they'd like to see the rest of the country. But do you really want the rest of the country to look like London? Hundreds of thousands of people who don't speak English, our national language, hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants, hate marches on the streets of our capital city every week, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah hate marches.
Yeah, so share this video with a Kamala Harris supporter. Let them know where to go to if they want to live in Kamala Harris's country. They can go to Europe, they can go to London, they can go to Barcelona and feel what it felt like to live in Kamala Harris's United States. Because what do we know about Kamala Harris? Well, Kamala Harris advocated for restrictions on the Second Amendment. She also advocated for monitoring free speech against hate speech. She opened the borders of our country to, like I said, have the worst border crisis in American history. And she wanted free healthcare, free education, free housing, preloaded EBT cards, and cash assistance for illegal immigrants over American citizens. Which, funny enough, with the ICE raids going on in California, LA Mayor Karen Bass just signed a bill that gives illegal immigrants cash assistance.
LA Mayor Karen Bass taking some action, signing an executive order in response to federal immigration raids. One part of her plan, direct cash assistance for families impacted.
I mean, every single time a Democrat puts a bill like this forward, signs it, and puts illegal immigrants above American citizens, all you're doing is creating another Republican voter. Yeah, so if you made it this far, please leave a comment down below if you haven't already. Let me know that you made it this far and what you think of the story. I'd really appreciate it if you did. Yeah, and to wrap this up, all I gotta say is, if you know a lefty or a Democrat or an anti-ICE protester, let them know what country to go to live in if they really want to live in Kamala Harris's United States. For the rest of you, I hope you have an outstanding day. I mean, I'm proud to be an American. I hope you are as well. And for the rest of the day, get outside, enjoy the sunshine, do some PT, change your socks, and drink some water. I love you. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye.